Wednesday is a massive day for the markets as we potentially have rate cuts on the table, which usually does send crypto into a very parabolic time period. However, trading the FOMC and inflation news on Wednesday will be a little bit tricky. So in this video, I'm going to go over my short-term strategy, but also where I see the markets going long-term. As yes, it is very bullish that we are getting rate cuts, but we could have a potential for a little bit of volatility during this time period. So I'm going to go over A to Z, what I'm thinking about this market, how I'm going to manage my risk, but also make sure the upside that we have is maintained during this timeline. Because I do think crypto will be going parabolic in the coming months, but it won't happen immediately. So I'm going to go over that in this video. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Today's video will be short, sweet, and to the point. But before we get started, guys, be sure to drop down below, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel for more every single week here on In the Game. We always have you covered top to bottom on how to win throughout this bull market. So be sure to like and subscribe. As well, a big shout out to our sponsors here on In the Game. We have some incredible sponsors from Blowfin, 𝗪𝗏𝗪, as well as Nexus Labs. And if you guys aren't already using the best centralized exchange in all of crypto, you can check out Blowfin down below in the descriptions. You can see some of their sign up bonuses here, literally giving you free money if you are looking to trade on their platform. So check out Blowfin down below. No KYC. You can use this from anywhere in the world. And when I'm trading using a centralized exchange, I always trade on Blowfin. So check Blowfin out in the link in the description down below. And as mentioned, we will keep it short and sweet today. We see the market kind of trending back up today. Yesterday, we saw a little bit of a retrace, and tomorrow is what we are seeing on the docket is potential rate cuts. And if we look at the probabilities here, there's a 96% chance that they will cut rates by 25 basis points, as well as a 4% chance for a deeper 50-point move, which why this matters is cheaper money equals more liquidity flowing into crypto, stocks, and gold. But do not expect a straight line up. A quick sell the news shakeout could hit before the real rally begins. And I tweeted something very similar yesterday. Rate cuts on Wednesday will set the tone for the rest of the year and potentially what everyone is expecting from October. Now, whenever that does happen, I wouldn't be surprised if during rate cuts, we actually see a little bit of a dip, as this move could potentially be quote unquote priced in, aka buy the rumors, sell the news type of event. And if that does happen, historically, we would have a quick dip, very volatile day on Wednesday. And then after rate cuts, every single time we have cut rates over the course of any crypto cycle, crypto goes nothing but up after that time period. So I expect nothing different. And for those of you who have been waiting on a parabolic move or waiting on an alt season, this is definitely the time where this could come true. And others think the same thing. Tom Lee says on CNBC, he believes Bitcoin is going to make an explosive move in the next 3 months. And his post-Fed playbook, as you could see there, if we rewind this, his post-Fed playbook was in this order. If we can find it in this video: small caps, financials, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. So he does expect, if he's calling out small caps, he expects an alt season to happen during this time period. And then we see crypto god John. This is not a week to be careless in the markets. One of the most important weeks that we have had in quite some time, as we could get those rate cuts. Unironically, is a big week ahead. Honestly, would like to see rate cuts sell off as a sell the news, then rip it higher when everyone gets bearish. And look, I kind of expect this. I don't see, and I'm happy to be wrong with my long-term holdings and just the trades we've been taking, which, by the way, we're going to run over some of the coins we've been, talking about on the channel, and some of them are looking very good at this point in time. However, looking at the longer term here, I would not be surprised if the rate cuts are already priced into the market, and we do see a little bit of a dip because everyone is expecting rate cuts, and the common, investor is going to think, oh, rate cuts, market goes up. I think it's going to be a little bit of a chop, a little bit of volatility, maybe even a sell the news event. But then, as always, the trend will correct. Rate cuts are always bullish for the crypto market. So that's what I'm seeing. So if I'm trading tomorrow, I'm watching closely. If I have some active longs open, I would maybe trim some profits on some of your top positions. But regardless, I think going into October and November, we should be looking very strong in the crypto markets. And just going over some of the coins, by the way. Solana up 20% this month, sitting at 236. Crazy price action here on Solana. We see Hyperliquid up 15% this month, also at $53. Our Hyperliquid trades from spot bags at $27, from our leverage longs over, a 10x leverage long, which is just doing absolutely crazy numbers from that $43 mark. Really looking good on Hyperliquid. And as we see here, people who missed Hyperliquid are looking at what could be the next Hyperliquid. I don't think there's a next Hyperliquid. And I think this is kind of like what he's saying here. This is like ignoring the Solana ecosystem after it went from 8 to 100. And now it's at 236 as of today, right? This is still the Bitcoin and Hyperliquid cycle. And I absolutely agree. And even if you feel like you've missed the trade so far, there's potential free money lining up on Hype with, Unit, HyperFi, Project X, which is going to be doing a airdrop as well. You have Base now announcing a token. We know abstract tokens on the way. You can literally get tons of free money just by interacting with these protocols. So even if you haven't invested to this point, find something in the ecosystem that you're privy to, and you could still come out on top in these different narratives. But regardless, I do think Hyperliquid does still have so much more upside to come in this cycle. And let's talk about one of the coins that I think the comment section and the show here, a lot of you guys were starting to get frustrated with. Crypto Twitter was starting to get frustrated with the price action behind a token like Avalanche. Well, over the course of this cycle, AVAX now is getting filed for the SEC with an Avalanche ETF. They've partnered up with BlackRock. They are working with JP Morgan, Chase Bank, all these different entities. They have a massive hedge fund from Anthony Scaramucci on chain. They have the biggest digital real estate deal ever. All the car titles in California are built on Avalanche. So all of this has culminated into finally the catch-up trade that we have been mentioning. We're seeing Solana run, and now Avalanche is also having a nice little rally underneath it. This is exactly what happened last cycle. This is exactly what's happening now. And I think once we settle above this $30 level, it's going to be a pretty clear path. And if we look at the all chart here, from the last couple of years specifically, when we got up to that $60 landmark last March, I think that especially that should basically be the price discovery for Avalanche. I think between 30 and 60, there's very little resistance. I think we're going to continue to see that upside from Avalanche, but after 60 is kind of what I'm going to consider price discovery, because it's still 100% from all-time highs. If we do get to $60, there's so much more room to grow between that 60 and $120 level. So I'm definitely looking for this to continue its climb. But obviously, if we have a little bit of a dip around rate cuts, you could find yourself a little bit of a long entry if you weren't accumulating this with us over the course of the show. Because look, we have been buying Avalanche almost, for me, like every single week, especially if it was between $19 and $22, $23. And now we're sitting at $30 in Avalanche token, and the catch-up trade is catching up just as planned. And as we see here, AVAX continuation, this strength ever since the beginning of September has been, amazing to see after all of this time of accumulation and just seeing that strong of a chart. It is a beautiful thing. So shout out to everyone on the channel who did believe in Avalanche, because I think it was a matter of time, not a matter of if it's going to run. It was just more so when it was going to run. Going down the watch list here just a little bit, we see Athena at 70 cents. I think that could be a nice one to watch for a dip if we get a little bit of a dip on Wednesday. 𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗏 continues to scream value, especially at 340. We look down the ladder here at other AI tokens, stuff like Ethereum, which, luckily, Aether, the amount of projects that I invested in this cycle before they went live, and the success rate of those projects was very small. And one of the only ones that has ever panned out to be successful, pre-market, like a seed investment or whatever the case is Aether. Now at 6 cents, up 110% on the year, up 80% on the monthly time frame. And a lot of this is filtering into the narrative that, FDV versus revenue, very strong here. FDV in the billions here, and they're making 0.15 billion in revenue annualized, as we see Pump Fund doing about 0.6 and Hyperliquid doing about $1.24 billion annualized. We know the runs that Pump Fund and Hyperliquid have had, so Aether is having a nice catch-up trade here because of that same exact narrative. And I do think this also is leading into potentially AI coins heating up in the market, which is why I love Tau here. And then the low caps like TauBot, stuff like GPU, Neural AI, I think those will perform very strong if AI continues to get a bid. We also see KETA under $1.90 here. And KETA is an ISO 20022 project, but is 100x smaller market cap and 9 years younger than the others, talking about those OG top projects that are in that same landscape. So those are the ones I'd be looking at for potential dips. Would be AVAX. If it dips, I would probably go long off of that dip considering the recent strength. I'm still accumulating stuff like KETA, Tau, etc. But for me, I'm more so treading caution heading into this FOMC and potential rate cut time period. While yes, if we were to pull up a chart, crypto performance after rate cuts, so in the midterm, over the quarter, I do expect higher upside as far as price action. I expect an alt season to finally come through the door, not just Bitcoin season, but it's going to take a little bit of a ride to get there. You might get shaken out if there is a little bit of a dip. You're going to want to be shaken out. That's the thing. Your mindset is going to be like, man, rate cuts, maybe we have a little dip, just because that's just how market psychology works. Unfortunately, even though rate cuts are bullish in the short term, you might have the thought that, wow, what if rate cuts were the top of the market? What if it's down from here? We were all waiting for this rate cut. What if that is the landmark that we look back on this cycle as we should have sold at that point in time? It's probably going to have your psychology thinking that. And if it does, do not give in to that, because after rate cuts, every single time, this has been nothing but a bullish trade. So definitely stick with your conviction. Make sure you're in high valued, high quality altcoins for this time period. And I would trade responsibly. As I say at the end of every video, the FOMC this time is going to be tricky. And like I said, I'm happy to be wrong, but I would probably expect a little bit of a sell-off on rate cuts, just considering the fact that everyone's waiting on this. It's one of those things that we're also bullish on, which could cause some short-term bearish price action for long-term gains, because every single time this has come out on top. So think longer term. Don't think this week we're going to get into an alt season, because I don't really think that is the case. So this is not a what altcoins to go buy, but I would just trade with caution, especially if you have open longs or you're expecting to trade the volatility. Just be careful, because you really never know what's going to happen. And the way that psychology is in investing, it might go the opposite way than what most people are thinking. So guys, be sure to like the video down below, subscribe to the channel for more. I'll be back tomorrow with a full breakdown. We would have already had FOMC, so we'll be able to go over the market, what we're seeing at this point in time, maybe some altcoins that are ripping if we actually do see upside, some coins that dipped and we maybe want to take some open longs on. We'll have you covered tomorrow afternoon with all of that information. So guys, like the video down below, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. As always, like I said, trade responsibly, stay bullish, and play well, my friends.